Laura Stephenson is a professor of political science at the University of Western Ontario.
We knew that we had had multiple terms of a Liberal government and that the country was largely souring on the Trudeau Liberals. So we knew there was going to be some kind of a change. What happened is not the change most people were expecting. And the consequentialness, I think, is less so in the sense of, policy choices within Canada, so much as who is going to lead Canada through uncertain times on the world stage.
Well, speaking of the world stage, Carney vows Trump will never break us. So can we expect an even tougher stance from Canada towards the US now?
No, I don't think we'll see tougher than what has been happening. What I think we will see is more of a kind of a holistic strategy moving forward. I do believe that there's going to be a lot of negotiation happening, and I think a lot was on hold until this election happened, until we had a new prime minister's term starting, so that person could be doing the negotiations themselves. I don't know that the tone will change so much as it will remain firm. And one thing I think Carney has signaled with his actions, just even after he took office, was that he will be reaching out as well to build Canada's trade relationships with other countries. So, he's not giving up on the United States. Obviously, that country has been our largest trading partner and closest friend for a very long time. I don't think that's done for, but I do think that Carney is has his eyes open to the possibility that that might not be a viable way to move forward. And so he will be seeking kind of relationships on multiple fronts.
So let's talk a little bit about those relationships on multiple fronts, with Europe, with China, with the rest of the world. Who do you think is going to be the first person on his speed dial?
Carney has a different resume than most politicians. And so the depth of his Rolodex, to use an old term, would be different, right, than we would have expected if Poilievre was going to be prime minister. And so the extent to which he is, more familiar maybe with situations going on in Europe and opportunities that may be available for partnerships with Canada. Certainly, I'd say the Chinese relationship is one that I'm not positive where he's going to go with that, because I think there are many ways to see these kinds of relationships or, offering of hands, I guess. And it's unclear how that is going to play out with respect to other relationships that may be trying to be built, right? And I do think it's important that we consider how our forays into other partnerships are going to affect how things work with the U.S. Because when it comes down to it, by simple geography, right, we do have to be very mindful to not do anything to actively hinder that relationship.
So we've talked a little bit about Carney's potential outward looking, but what about what happens at home? It's still not clear if the Liberals are going to get that majority in Parliament. So what does need to happen next?
If there was a majority, I think there would be a much clearer sense of what's going to happen next. What I am looking at in terms of the numbers, it appears that the same kind of a relationship with NDP MPs could provide some stability in Parliament, but I'm not sure those MPs will be as open to it. And so we'll have to see what happens on that front. I do, however, think that what we saw in this election was, amongst voters anyways, kind of a coordination of those on the progressive side of the ideological spectrum moving towards or rallying behind Carney. And I think what that might mean is that the agenda items he has set forward will get some support. The alternative, nobody wants another election.